evening and welcome to Biz RoundUp. I'm Tamiru Nimsat and we at Tart Television bring you a collection of business highlights. Let's have a look at the headlines. Manna can be developed for investment opportunities in tourism, fishing and renewable energy sectors. Officials assured the President. Month of June sees an influx of tourist arrivals after a lackluster month of May. Government plans to gradually reduce vehicle import restrictions, Minister Siambala Pitiya says. News in detail. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka hosted the 45th SAARC Finance Governors Meeting and Symposium in Colombo recently. The event saw the participation of governors, finance secretaries and other key delegates from central banks and ministries of finance across the SAARC region. President of Sri Lanka and Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilisation and National Policies Ranil Wickremesinghe graced the inaugural ceremony and delivered the keynote speech. The SAARC Finance Governance Symposium, themed Central Banking amid multifaceted global economic challenges, marked the first day of the event featuring two insightful panel discussions. The first panel discussion, titled Challenges and Opportunities of Evolving Global Economic Dynamics to SAARC Countries Sharing Experience, included Secretary to the Treasury K.M. Mahinda Siriwardana. The second panel discussion, titled Revisiting Monetary Policy Processes and Paradigms in SAARC Countries, Policy Puzzles, Solutions and Lessons Learned, featured CBSL Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe. Established in 1998, SAARC Finance is a permanent body comprising governors of central banks and finance secretaries of SAARC member states. The Secretary General of SAARC, Ambassador M.D. Golam Sarwar, also attended the inauguration. Speaking at the event, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the government has ensured that the benefits from the IMF program goes to the ordinary people of the country, as they were the ones who suffered the most long-term effects from the economic crisis.
I wanted to ensure that the initial beneficiaries of the measures we have taken with the IMF are the ordinary people of Sri Lanka. They are the ones who suffered most. They are the ones who lost their jobs. They are the ones who had to mortgage their properties. They are the ones who had to sell their land. So to ensure that, I have said that we should ensure the money goes to the bottom, to down. In addition to this, I think stabilizing the rupee and bringing the interest rates down has been one benefit. Secondly, with the help of the World Bank, we have increased the payment of social welfare payments threefold. And from 1.8 million families, it will go up to 2.4 million families. That's at the very, very bottom. To all those working in the government, we gave 10,000 rupee allowances. The private sector has followed. The government, because the plantation companies refused, had ordered them to make a payment of 1,350 per day. This was challenged in courts and the court has thrown out the challenge. So we've ensured that money goes in. We've also recreated our district development budget. These are decentralized money to build roads in the villages or to put up buildings. It means you're giving money for the small contractors and others in the area. That money has now been given.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe announced that all necessary facilities will be provided to pilgrims travelling to Madu to ensure they can engage in their pilgrimage activities without any hindrance. The President made this announcement during the Mannar District Development Committee meeting held at the Mannar District Secretariat last week. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized that it is unfair to arrest and fine pilgrims on their way to sacred sites like Madhu Church and Sri Pada, and instructed officials to immediately inform the President's office if such arrests occur in the future. The President highlighted Mannar's potential in the tourism, fishing and renewable energy industries. He mentioned ongoing discussions with the Indian government about producing and selling energy generated from wind and solar power to India. The President also discussed funding for a new court complex in Mannar and the potential of opening the route to Mannar through Puttalam. The National Symposium on Catalyzing Change, Making Local Governance Future Fit was held in Sri Lanka recently. Co-convened by the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government, the European Union delegation in Sri Lanka and UNDP, the event brought together stakeholders to foster exchanges on local governance. The symposium created a platform to share insights and best practices from the capacity development of local government project, which has worked with 134 local authorities in 4 provinces over the past 5 years. Funded by the European Union, the CDLG project has supported local government authorities in delivering more inclusive, accountable and effective services. This initiative has particularly emphasized gender-responsive budgeting, integrated planning and robust social, environmental and gender impact assessments at the grassroots level. The closing ceremony featured notable attendees including EU Ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Carmen Moreno, and resident representative of UNDP in Sri Lanka, Azusa Kubota. Stay tuned. We will return after the short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. In an effort to facilitate the return of Sri Lankan ex-military personnel deployed in Russia, a high-level delegation led by State Minister of Foreign Affairs Tarka Balsurya is set to visit Russia for crucial discussions on June 26th and 27th. This was announced by Minister of Foreign Affairs, President's Counsel Ali Sabri during a press conference at the Presidential Media Center recently. Minister Sabri highlighted the government's efforts to repatriate Sri Lankans involved in military purposes in Russia, aiming to ensure their safe return and address any related issues. In addition to this, a team of officials is reviewing a cabinet paper to determine Sri Lanka's potential membership in the BRICS organization. Their findings are expected later this month. The minister also touched upon the positive progress in negotiations with bondholders and official creditors, expressing optimism about Sri Lanka transitioning from a debt defaulter to a debt-repaying nation. Minister Sabri revealed plans to visit Japan in early July at the invitation of the Japanese Foreign Minister to finalize the resumption of development projects previously halted. Concurrent efforts are also underway to facilitate the safe return of Sri Lankans currently stranded in Myanmar. The public learning education platform aiming to revolutionize education in Sri Lanka was launched under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Chamber Hall of the Presidential Secretariat recently. President Wickremesinghe highlighted that this platform marks the third phase of Sri Lanka's learning journey following the Peruvian system and the British public school system. He stressed the need for continuous adaptation and innovation in leveraging digital technology to propel Sri Lanka forward in the digital economy. Public Learn, a platform that connects users to free courses from the world's top universities, is operated by Region Global and funded by the Sri Lanka diaspora in the UK. PublicLearn.lk will provide more post-school learning opportunities without the constraints of traditional classrooms, addressing the shortage of skilled teachers and paving the way for many Sri Lankans to advance and transform our nation. Department of Census and Statistics says that the country's economy has experienced more favorable economic conditions in the first quarter 2024 when compared to the first quarter last year. They also said that Sri Lanka's gross domestic product grew 5.3% in the first quarter of 2024. Data from the State Statistics Office showed as the central bank continued to refrain from generating monetary instability. Department of Census and Statistics says that the high inflation had prevailed in the first quarter of year 2023, gradually reduced to a lower level by the first quarter of 2024. They further added that this low inflation incentivized the economy by providing inputs at a much lower price. The agriculture sector grew 1.1% in the first quarter of 2024 after also growing 1.6% last year. Industry grew 11.8% in the first quarter against a 24.3% last year. The economy grew amid falling prices, the Statistics Office said, in sharp contrast to the Anglophone macroeconomic claim that inflation is needed to boost growth, on which Sri Lanka has 5 to 7 inflation target has apparently been set. Department also said that among industrial activities, coinciding with the decline in input prices, the construction industry grew by 14.2%. Parallel to this, and the mining and quarrying industry too expanded by 18.3% during this quarter. Sri Lanka's service sector grew 2.6% against a decline of 4.6% recorded last year. Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. State Minister for Provincial Councils, Local Government and Environment Janak Wakumbura announced plans to update the current Environment Act and introduce it alongside the Climate Change Act as a new bill in Parliament. The State Minister said this during a press conference held at the Presidential Media Centre recently, marking 2 years of progress and advancement. State Minister Wakkumbura highlighted an urgent program to responsibly utilize the country's valuable mineral resources for economic benefit while ensuring environmental sustainability. Secretary of the Ministry of Environment, Mr. B.K. Chandrakirti, outlined significant strides made over the past 2 years, including the development of the Dambulla-Poppam Arboretum and restoration of damaged mangrove ecosystems. Additional Secretary for Environmental Development, R.D.S. Jaitungu, highlighted climate change projects, including enhancing transparency in agriculture, forests, and land use and implementing a national adaptation plan. Additional Secretary for Natural Resources, WDSC Valivatta, discussed efforts to enhance air quality in Colombo with technical support from the French government. Chairman of the Central Environment Authority, Venura Fernando, emphasized the need for fostering an environmental culture through educational programs and digitizing the authority's information center. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya announced the government's submission of a detailed roadmap to gradually relax restrictions on vehicle imports. This phased approach aims to minimize the impact on the country's crucial foreign reserves. Speaking to journalists on Saturday, Minister Siambalapitiya outlined the formation of a committee tasked with devising a comprehensive program for future vehicle import activities.
The committee includes representatives from key sectors such as the Department of Trade and Policy of the Finance Ministry, the Department of Motor Traffic, the Central Bank, and various associations related to the industry. The initial roadmap, as outlined by the recent IMF report, includes several key phases. The plan begins with importation of public passenger and special purpose vehicles in the third quarter of this year. This will be followed by goods transport vehicles in the fourth quarter of 2024, with the remaining vehicle categories to be addressed by 2025. Minister Siambalapitiya highlighted that while relaxing import restrictions, priority would be given to vehicles used for public transportation, goods transportation, motorcycles and cars used by the general public.
Sri Lanka has experienced a significant influx of tourists with over 43,000 visitors arriving in the first 13 days of June, bringing the cumulative number of arrivals for the year to over 940,000. According to the latest data released by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, a total of 43,200 visitors arrived between June 1st and 13th.
India remains the largest single source market for the year to date, contributing 167,981 visitors. Russia follows with 112,043 arrivals, the UK with 83,561, Germany with 67,162 and China with 58,336 visitors. Sri Lanka tourism aims to attract 2.3 million visitors and generate over $4 billion in income for 2024. This influx is expected to boost local businesses, hospitality and related industries, contributing significantly to the country's economic recovery and growth. While challenges remain in meeting the high monthly targets set by the SLTDA, the consistent increase in tourist arrivals provide a hopeful outcome for Sri Lanka's tourism sector.
With that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.